What's up, y'all? It's your boy Steph, back with another reaction. This time we have Mr. Haunted, 3 true scary mailman horror stories, uploaded October 12th, 2018. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. Down in the description will be links to Mr. Haunted's channel along with the link to this original video. Also down there will be links to all of my social medias. Connect with your boy and see the personal life that I don't upload to YouTube. Without further ado, let's get to the creepiness.
In 2011, I worked as a mailman in Atlanta, Georgia. I hated being a mailman for the most part. Driving around to neighborhood after neighborhood and putting people's mail in their mailboxes was honestly a huge pain, and it doesn't help that my shifts were about 6 hours a day.
But it pays good.
But I couldn't really complain, as getting a job in my area was pretty difficult. However, the part that really made me feel uneasy about this job was because of a certain house that I had to deliver to once a week. Every time I would deliver to this house, there would always be the same guy watching me while sitting in his yard chair on his porch.
Oh, nah.
His name was Gerald, and I know that because it had his name on the packages I delivered to him.
Gerald?
He would stare at me with his eyes open really wide with a blank expression, and it was kind of like he was staring through your soul. Of course I was creeped out by this, but I never went out of my way to talk to him or make any sort of conversation with him.
Why would you?
One day, during the month of August, the neighborhood with Gerald was one of the neighborhoods on my route. That day, at around 4 in the afternoon, I pulled into Gerald's neighborhood to deliver the mail. However, once I pulled up to Gerald's mailbox, the lid wasn't there. Inside the mailbox was a folded up piece of paper. I took it out and it read, "Hi there, I regret to inform you that the mailbox is unfortunately broken. Please go inside and leave the mail on the kitchen table."
What?
I was very suspicious, as not only was the letter sketchy, but I also didn't see Gerald in his chair.
You better not do that.
I wanted to leave, but I couldn't, as our policy says that we must deliver the mail to the person no matter what. So I cautiously got out of the mail van and got Gerald's mail and walked over to his front door.
Or left it right on the porch.
There was no doorbell, so I knocked. Just then, someone said on the other side to come in. Alarms immediately started going off in my head, and I had the sudden urge to turn back and drive away, but I didn't want to risk getting in trouble or losing my job.
He waiting for you.
I opened the door and was greeted to a foul smell coming from somewhere in the house. I was calling out Gerald's name, but there was no response. All the lights on in the house were dark, and all of the windows had blinds. However, I looked down the hall and saw a light on in the room. I figured that it must have been the kitchen, so I walked down the hall and turned to the kitchen. There was a table with 4 chairs around it, and in each of the chairs were 4 men with masks on, one of them being Gerald. I stood there for a few seconds before I ran out the kitchen into the front door, but there was another person blocking the door.
Yep.
He was holding a large knife.
Ooh.
I stood there frozen and I didn't know what to do, but just stay there. The other people then came out from the kitchen, and one of the men was holding what looked like a briefcase.
Frozen.
He held it out to me and told me to open it.
Don't start with this bullshit.
The same exact smell from earlier hit me in the face stronger than ever. It smelled like death, or maybe rotting flesh.
They killed Gerald?
I was now sure that they were going to kill me if I didn't open it, and I prepared to see what contents laid inside that briefcase. But before I was going to open it, I puked and pushed the thing away from me, and I decided I had enough of this. The guy who was blocking the door for whatever reason stepped away, and I stood up and swung open the door and ran back to my vehicle, not looking back.
Call the police.
I drove out of that neighborhood and I quit my job the next day. No more delivering mail for me. Till this day, I still have no idea as to what their intentions were, and I still don't know what contents were inside that briefcase.
I think they killed Gerald. The fact that you went in the house at all was your bullshit.
My name is Emily, and I was around 16 years old when this happened, not only to me, but my friends as well. I've always been the type of girl who would always be out and about with friends. Almost every week, I would be doing something with friends no matter what. Whether it would be going to the mall, going to the movies, or going out to eat, I would never be by myself whatsoever. One day, I had two of my friends over at my house who we'll call Melissa and Jamie. Melissa was around my age and Jamie was much older, like 18 or 19. I can't really remember her exact age as this was a while ago. Anyway, on the day they came over, I believe it was a Friday, we really had nothing to do. We couldn't go anywhere as we had no ride, and Jamie did have a car but had no license. With nothing to do, we decided to head over to an ice cream shop that was just located a few blocks away, and we didn't mind the walk. The walk was about 20 minutes, give or take. So we get to the ice cream shop and get our ice cream and sit down at a nearby table. As we were eating our ice cream while talking, I see a mail truck parked beside the sidewalk about 20 to 30 feet away from us. Looking back, I really thought nothing of it and continued to eat. But Melissa said something that perked up my ears. Why in the world is the mailman staring at us? I looked to the driver's side of the mail truck to see a man, I'd say in his mid-30s, staring at us with his eyes open wider than anyone possibly could.
Nope.
I have to be honest, he looked kind of creepy with the face he had on. I still can't really describe the face he made, but picture a man with his eyes open wide and an angry/sad expression. We just thought that it was some guy just trying to scare us or just doing it for fun. We finished up our ice cream and walked back down the street to my house. All the while, the three of us were talking about why he was giving us a face like that and laughing about it. At some point during the walk, the three of us were quiet for a few minutes, texting on our phones and whatnot, when we all hear the sound of a vehicle approaching from behind us. We turned around to see the exact same mail truck following us. However, the driver was now in somewhat of a cheerful mood. He pulled up next to us and said, "Hey girls, do you live around here?
Don't worry about
I could give you a ride if you want."
Nah.
We didn't respond to him and just kept walking. He then said the same thing again, but this time a bit louder, but we still ignored him. Just then, we immediately saw another car coming, and the mail truck immediately sped down the road. Jamie recommended that we should hurry up and that something wasn't right. Within 5 minutes, we all made it back to my house and spent the rest of the day there. About a week or so went by, and I already got past the incident with the mailman, until a few days later. One day, I was eating breakfast at the kitchen table while my mom was watching the local news. I really paid no attention to it, as I really don't care for the news. However, at one point, I turned to the TV and heard something on the news that nearly made me pass out. There was a story about a guy who stole a mail truck and pretended to be a mailman. They showed a picture of the man, and I couldn't believe it. It was the exact same man who we encountered the other day. He acted like he was the mailman and to lure children and teens, just like me, to try to kidnap them. Unfortunately, they said something that I still sometimes cry about till this day.
He got someone?
He had gotten a hold of a 7-year-old girl, and she was missing for days. They eventually found the girl, dead. Her body was dumped into a wooded area about 10 miles from where I lived. I still feel bad and horrible for that little girl. This is to the mailman who tried to lure us in and killed that innocent young girl. I hope you get what you deserve and rot in hell, you sick, twisted demon.
How did he steal a mail truck and the cops weren't immediately on his ass? Bullshitting.
When I was around 16 years old, something very strange and creepy happened when I got a package from the mailman one day. My name is Joseph, and I've always been the type of kid who people would call a nerd, as I'm obsessed with video games and a huge anime freak. Anyway, on December 12th, my birthday finally came, and my parents had bought me a very nice computer for my room. You could imagine how happy I was. I would play games on it and pretty much enjoy myself. Anyway, I wanted to buy a certain Star Wars game for my computer, as I didn't have it and nor did any of the other store games in my town. Since they weren't in any stores in my area, I looked on eBay, and fortunately for me, there was one game left for the price of $5, and so I bought it almost immediately. $5 seemed too good to be true, but it was a very old game, so I figured that was the reason why it was so cheap. Days went by, and my package still hadn't come yet, and I was getting a bit impatient, but still kept my cool. About a week or so later, I was outside my front yard washing my parents' car when I saw the mail truck pull up in front of our mailbox and the mailman started to put things in. He then left within a minute and I excitedly pulled out the mail and found my package with my name on it. I finished washing the car after that and took the mail inside and popped the game into my PC and started playing. About 10 minutes went by and my mom came into my room and showed me something that I wasn't expecting. She had a white envelope in her hand and she said that I forgot to take this when I brought the mail in. I took it from her and all it said on the envelope was my name, written in big bold letters. I was confused as I didn't order anything else, but I just figured that it was a late birthday present from a family member as my birthday wasn't too long ago. I opened it and there was a note inside. It read, "From Stephen Garcia." Just to be clear, Stephen Garcia is the name of the mailman who delivers the mail to my house.
Okay.
I really didn't know what to think, so I put the note down but noticed something else in the envelope. It was a small little bag with something inside it. When I saw what it was, I was a bit confused. I still have no idea what it was, but it looked like some sort of light green powder. Out of curiosity, I emptied the contents into my hand and started looking at it, trying to figure out what it was. I decided that it was probably nothing and immediately put it back into the bag. Almost immediately, my hand started to turn bright red, and I mean bright red, and on top of that, the skin on my hand began to get itchy, but every time I scratched it, my skin would peel off.
Damn!
I went to my mom freaking out, and so did she. This wasn't normal at all, and so my mom took me to the hospital and we explained it. They, thank God, made it go away. However, the doctors still have no idea as to what chemical or substance it was. Steven, our mailman, stopped coming and got a new mailman. There is something till this day that gives me chills, though. The doctor said that it was a good thing that we immediately went to the hospital because if we hadn't, chances are that I would have been dead, as whatever that substance was extremely toxic. I'm just glad I'm okay.
So the mailman had it out for you for no reason. That is crazy. So, back to the first story. You were the mailman. It said something about the mailbox or whatever being broken or whatnot. And you decided to go along with what the note said and leave it on the kitchen table. But it seems as though common sense would tell you if the guy was already creepy, always watching you, why would you enter his abode and deliver his mail onto the kitchen table as the note said, knowing he's already creepy and might do something? Like I said at the end of that first video when that story was over, I would have left it right there on the porch and that's it. Or even better, so you can't lie and say you didn't get it, I would simply record me sliding the mail underneath the door, because usually all doors always have a little bit of space under them. Slide your mail right up under there and take off. Take a picture of that note, your address, and also make a report of how you were creeping on me and then just so happened the mailbox was messed up or whatever and you wanted it on your kitchen table. Meaning you wanted me to come into the house where you are. I don't know you, I don't know your house, but I know that you're creepy, giving you the obvious home field advantage to do something. Nah. And I'm assuming those guys are the ones who really wanted you to come in there. I'm assuming. What do y'all think of that first story? Drop it down in the comments. And oh, before I end the video, if you had a package along with your mail and it can't fit under the door, that's going right on that chair you were sitting on right outside your house. On the chair, on the bench, or right there on the porch, right in front of your door. And I'm gone. I don't play. I ain't with that bullshit. But hey guys, that is it for this video. If you like my reaction, like the video, comment on the video, and share the video to your social medias. And if you really liked it, subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. And tap that bell icon so you will be notified every time I drop new content, which I do on a weekly basis. That is all I got for y'all this time around. Your boy Steph is out.